Sam Burberry reporting there. Meanwhile, the knitting nanas made their presence felt outside Newcastle Courthouse today, sitting in solidarity with dozens of climate change protesters facing magistrates over their involvement in last month's blockade of Newcastle's coal port. Among those to appear were World War II veteran Bill Ryan, grandmother Susie Gold, and 23-year-old Max Kermey. Their matters were all adjourned for 3 weeks.
An inmate who escaped from Cessnock jail has been found in the wardrobe of a house. Jake Nunn was arrested yesterday morning at a property in Scott Street at Cessnock. The 18-year-old is accused of fleeing the minimum security prison almost 2 weeks ago. He faced Maitland Local Court today on 8 charges and was refused bail.
The SES is warning drivers to be vigilant and cautious in the wet weather, with almost 50 millimetres of rain forecast for Newcastle and the Central Coast over the next 2 days.
Just obviously stay calm, stay indoors if the weather system does intensify at the moment. Listen to the news, listen to the radio, look at our social media sites, or look at our SES website.
Other precautions include cleaning gutters and monitoring flash flooding.
Rescuers are hard at work trying to free a juvenile humpback whale off the mid-north coast. The whale became entangled off Sawtell Beach yesterday afternoon, and rough seas are hampering efforts to locate and free the creature. Photos taken by whale watchers show the netting wrapped around the calf's back and left pectoral fin, stopping above the dorsal fin. The calf was previously spotted heading south with its mother.
Many of us will go to sleep tonight in a warm bed with a roof over our head. But for almost 2,000 homeless people in the Hunter, sleeping rough is the only option. Today, staff at Mission Australia came together to try and end Newcastle's homeless crisis.
More than 800 people are without a safe place to call home in Newcastle. With homelessness on the rise in the Hunter, charity groups are determined to put an end to the cycle.
The majority of people who are homeless are what we would describe as hidden homeless people, and they are people who are living in temporary accommodation or unsuitable accommodation not fit for their needs.
Mission Australia is trying to map out a long-term housing plan for those who need it most in the Hunter. The Everybody's Home campaign aims to break down the first hurdle, entering an already difficult rental market.
Many are absolutely capable and able to sustain tenancies in private rental housing, but are not getting the chance to.
Mission Australia is calling on all levels of government to help subsidise their target to build 500,000 social and affordable homes across the country, also providing up to 30% rent relief for those struggling between now and 2030.
Everybody's Home is a campaign which has a website. People can go onto the website. They can engage with the principles around Everybody's Home. They can even make a donation to that campaign.
Lauren Kemp, NBN News.
Shoppers flocked to Westfield Kotara today for the opening of the latest international retailer to set up shop, H&M. It's the first major store to open as part of Westfield's $160 million redevelopment.
We've been waiting for something like this for a long time. It's added a great feel to the centre.
Fellow fashion retailer Zara will open its first Hunter store at Kotara in coming months. Works are expected to be complete by the end of the year.
80s megastars Simple Minds will headline the off-track entertainment at next month's Newcastle 500. They'll be supported by Australian act Birds of Tokyo. There's a slight change to this year's program though. They'll be performing a few kilometres from the racetrack at No. 1 Sports Ground. Organisers say a public transport plan will be implemented for the change in concert venues.
Later tonight, Sam Jordan will be in with all the day's sport.
But after the break, what caused a mayday call from a Sydney-bound plane?
This Saturday. Get paid out as a winner if your horse runs first or second in races 1 and 2 at Randwick and Flemington. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
We're not going to break him heel. Hold on to your boa, babe. I know a girl.
Amy's roadside assist option offers unlimited call-outs 24/7.
I got it, darling. Thank you.
Unlimited call-outs 24/7? That's not very insurancy.
Cheap power in China and Japan. Jobs, jobs and more jobs. For China and Japan, make jobs here. Use Australian resources for Australians. Put Australia first. United Australia Party.
Authorised by James McDonald for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Harris Scott's big stock take sale ends this Sunday. Take 50% off all Manchester, 50% off all homewares, and 40% off all underwear, bras and footwear. Exclusions apply. See in-store or online for details.
Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional. I don't know where that came from. I couldn't, like I've got a family. Good grief.
Both of my eyes.
Both of your eyes. $50 million? No.
I just couldn't.
200 million.
I couldn't.
You can't really put a price on your site.
Wake up to sleep at the 40 Wings clearance sale, where you can get up to 60% off selected floor stock store-wide. But hurry, the 40 Wings up to 60% off clearance sale must end Sunday. 40 Wings, serious about sleep.
The Rebel mid-season sale is on now, running for huge discounts on the biggest sports brands. Take a massive $90 off these Asics runners and save $50 on these Speedball runners from Under Armour. Loads more deals in store. Don't miss the Rebel mid-season sale on now.
At Nick Scali, save up to 10 to 40% off lounges and selected items. Save up to 10 to 40%. The Nick Scali Lounge Sale. On now.
You want to enjoy every moment, but just like that, lose your glasses, and you are truly lost. Call Hunter Laser Vision, a local company providing visual freedom.
Man, you got a tip on this next race?
Glad you asked.
Behold, the new Ned's Punter's Toolbox. Loaded with all the tools that will give your punting an edge this spring.
It's beautiful.
Serious tools for serious punters. Download the Neds app now with the Punter's Toolbox. Neds, it's time to bet.
Horror stories are emerging from locals at the epicenter of the earthquake that hit Indonesia last week. Our crews have visited a village that was turned into a sinkhole on Sulawesi, and officials say half of its population is still missing.
Ground zero in Ballaroa, an entire village wiped off the map. When the quake rippled across this neighbourhood, its power turned the soil to quicksand. Whole homes were sucked into a vortex 20 metres underground.
The ground was actually swirling around, like in a blender. Their house was like in a blender. Their house was covered by two other houses. So when their sons were looking for their bodies, they had to go through the first two houses first.
This woman tells me it was terrifying, like a tsunami but on land. As the earth gave way, she grabbed her two young children and sprinted to safety, but her husband hasn't been found, and he may never be, with so much buried deep into the earth. Less than a week ago, this was home to more than 5,000 families. Every day, survivors return, combing through the demolished buildings. These men grapple to free their truck bogged in the sludge. But the reality is, the only thing leaving this vast junkyard are bodies, 115 so far. Police expect there's thousands to come.
The first 3 days, we can still hear people crying for help and stuff below the rubbish. But in the last 3 days, we haven't heard any voices anymore.
When the quake hit on Friday, the pressure of it caused the roads to buckle like a spine. Looking around today, it's difficult to imagine that just 6 days ago, this was a middle-class neighbourhood. Today, it's a wasteland of debris. The earthquake's force was felt 18 kilometres away. Potobo obliterated too. And among the dead at Sigi Regency, 34 students found underneath the rubble of a church. Sydney Airport was plunged into a full-scale emergency when a United Airlines plane running low on fuel issued a mayday call.
The pilot had to make an emergency landing while coming in from Los Angeles, and authorities were quick to respond.
Safe and sound after a tense touchdown. United Airlines Flight 839 on the ground at its gate after making a dramatic early morning entrance.
Sitting in NBC 300, would you... United 839, City, copy Mayday 161, expect 163, copy Mayday United 839.
Just after 6 a.m, the 787 Dreamliner with 239 on board was granted priority to land. The aircraft from Los Angeles low on fuel. The 787 Dreamliner with 239 on board was granted priority to land. The aircraft from Los Angeles low on fuel and running into its reserve supply.
We have a full emergency level 3 for United 787. Call sign is UA 839. 839. Has no fuel issues. Issue a Mayday.
On the ground, emergency crews got into position. As the United flight made its final approach for landing, New South Wales Police closed 15 roads around the airport perimeter for 3 minutes in the morning peak. Water Police also put on standby here on Botany Bay alongside the runway. Landing without issue, emergency crews escorted the plane to the terminal, passengers oblivious to the flight deck drama.
Very surprising, yeah. No, everyone was calm. There was no panic. There was no announcement.
In a statement, United Airlines told Nine News a mechanical issue was to blame and that all customers disembarked normally.